like in the books, so you know how so they go into Narnia when they're kids, they live entire whole lives till they're adults, and then they come back through the wardrobe, and then they're kids again.
Yeah.
Right. All the stuff that they did to become adults stayed with them. So they still remember all that stuff is still there. So like any kind of like petty, stupid stuff that goes on like in the movies, right? Because you know how in the beginning of the Prince Caspian movie, like Peter's in like this fist fight or whatever on this platform, like by a subway or something.
I don't recall. It's been a while since I've seen the movie.
So that's just like some like creative license and some contrivance by the producers or whatever. But like if they do it, I hope they do it right because they need to start from the beginning. Because The Magician's Nephew was a bonkers book. Honest to goodness.
The Magician's Nephew?
Yeah, that's the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia. Anyway.
Oh, so before The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
It tells you where Aslan came from, where the Queen came from, the Ice Witch, the White Witch. It, like not full details as to like where they came from, but like backstory as to like how they got to Narnia, where Narnia came from. Like, because the what's it called? The Magician's Nephew. They're there for the creation during the actual creation of Narnia. Like,
sorry.
Like while Aslan is making Narnia, kind of thing. So, like I said, I mean, the Chronicles of Narnia, basically the dramatization of the Bible, right? Like, essentially, like from beginning to end. So, imagine like the Magician's Nephew as like Genesis with some like cool stuff mixed in. But it's really cool because it kind of has this interesting thing because like the magician, right, or the scientist is trying to create the ability to change locations at any time, to teleport, or to travel between realms, or travel between dimensions, right? And so he's got these rings, right, where you put one ring on, and then it teleports you to this place in between worlds. So it's like this forest with all these pools in it, and then you put the other ring on. It's like a green and a yellow ring or something like that. You put the yellow ring on, and you jump into that pool, and you'll be transported to a different world, right? So this area is kind of in between, right? And like just the whole like I don't know, it's like I say, as far as like the Chronicles of Narnia, that one blows the snot out of like all the rest of them after the Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Right.
Yeah, like by far. And it's a really good.
Stop trotting! I'm trying to hit you. I'm just enjoying this. Like, I got hit by a sword.
But like, so in that book specifically, it like, and then what happens is like, I'm not sure if it explains this in the Disney adaptations of the movies, but like the White Witch is this, like, so they, because like, okay, so the Magician's Nephew, this boy, I can't even remember his name, but he has a neighbor girl that he's friends with, and then they end up going to the magician's workshop and like using the rings inadvertently teleporting themselves out. So they end up in this dying world, right? It's like this whole world is just like the ruin of a great city kind of thing, and it's all like this kind of orange color to the sky. It's like just the devastation of a civilization kind of thing. And so they, so these, oh dang, and you're stuck. Ouch. But you, like, it's the end of this civilization, and then they come across this lady that's sitting in this chair, and it looks like she's petrified. She's a giant lady.
Okay,
like,
so these people go into this wizard's workshop,
yep,
and then they get warped into some post-apocalyptic world.
Correct.
And then that's where they meet the White Witch, who
Correct.
appears to be.
So she appears to be paralyzed.
Right.
But then there's this bell, or this gong that's there, and they go and ring it, and it essentially almost brings her back to life. But she's got magic. But she's chasing them And they're like, oh my gosh, we've got to get out of here. And so they put the ring on, but she grabs and holds onto one of them as they're transporting themselves. Oh. So she ends up in this in-between place. And in fact, in that in-between place, she loses like all of her powers. She's almost dying. So the magician's nephew...
The ice witch is dying.
Right. So the magician's nephew is like, he felt sorry for her. So he took her with him back to London, right? By jumping back into the London pool, right?
Right.
But then she goes and runs amok in London and like beats up a whole bunch of people with like a lamppost. So, again, so she's like there's some point where she's like on this carriage and she picks up a lamp because she's a giant lady, right? Like she's like this giant, powerful witch, so to speak. She grabs this lamppost and is like hitting people with it. So then the magician's nephew and this girl, they're like, oh my gosh, we gotta get her out of here. This is gonna be a mess. So that's when they go and they grab her and put the ring on, kind of thing, and then transport themselves to the middle place. They're like, yo, we gotta take her anywhere but back to London. So then they're like, well, maybe if we just pick a pool, we'll just go in. So they go in this pool.
A swimming pool?
Well, it's like these little like pools that are in this wood, right? It's all dark, and it's just like these pools are like portals to another world.
Okay.
As long as you're wearing one of the rings, whether it's the green or the yellow or something like that. But anywho, so they take her and they're like, okay, hey, this pool looks fine. And they jump into that pool, and then it turns out to be Narnia. So it's all dark, but then they see like kind of the dawn of creation. And she, at some point, had stabbed that lamppost that she was carrying, because it's like, you know how in the Chronicles of Narnia there's that lamppost in the middle of the forest?
Wait, she did what? Wait, she brought a lamppost with her?
Yeah, because when she was in London, she pulled one out of the ground and was beating people with it.
So that's why it was there?
Yeah.
Huh.
So like they're at the
I thought that was just like the only indication that like, oh, if anyone wants to go to this human realm, they just then that passage is nearby.
Yeah. Nope, it's there because and it gets into a whole bunch of stuff. So like, okay, here's some freaking stuff, Tanner.
Okay, I've been telling you Kingdom Hearts lore. You tell me Narnia lore.
So like this is why the beginning of it is so good, and that's why I enjoyed the beginning of it, but I hated the end, and that really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth for the whole series. So, for example, so they show up in this world. It's like the dawn of time in that world, which is Narnia. Right. So Aslan's there making stuff. Right. The witch had stabbed, at some point, her lamppost had ended up in the ground, and so it began to grow like a tree. Right. Like, so it became a living thing, and it would light up. Right. Because everything grows in Narnia, like when Aslan's there. Everything's good when he's there, kind of thing. So they're there, and then they have to like find. At some point, they like Aslan's like, "Yo, you got to go get that witch and tell her she's got to get out of here." Right? Like, you kids brought her here, and so you got to go on a quest. So they go on this quest across this like newly formed world, right? And then they find her in a garden, kind of like Adam and Eve, like Snake in the Garden kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like, so they're drawing that comparison, but instead it's just like this witch hiding in a tree. And so what had happened is Aslan knew that there has to be a separation between the worlds, right? But in that garden or whatever, the kid, the magician's nephew, had taken a piece of fruit with him. Mm-hmm. Right, taking that piece of fruit with him, and so because it's supposedly like really good fruit, right? Like you know, like tempting Adam and Eve with the forbidden fruit or whatever, right? Like that whole thing. So then he takes one of those back with him, and then so Aslan's like, well, you know, this is goodbye, you know, later. Right, like there has to be separation between these worlds. But then the magician's nephew had that fruit with him. So what he did was he took a seed from that fruit and planted it in his backyard there in London. And so that tree just grew and grew and grew, and it was a big old freaking tree. It grew fast because it was from Narnia, and that's like some magic stuff, right? But then it was cut down and turned into a freaking wardrobe. And so that's why that wardrobe became somewhat of a portal between the worlds, because it was part of both, right? So it like I said, it's some really interesting like kind of stuff that they mix in there. And I think that if Disney did a series, like a TV show type thing, with that kind of a layout, like across the things, I think they could do a good job, because in the later movies or in the later books, you kind of have a dip in the story, right? Like people, and I'm not the only one, lose interest in the characters in some cases. Because they're like, oh, well, you're used to like the 4 kids from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or because the magician's nephew and that chick, I mean, her name's like Pauline or something like that. They're only in one book, right? But then the wood from that tree is in the next book, right? And that's not explained until the end of the magician's nephew, right? Which kind of gives you some foreshadowing into The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. But like, some like really, I think there's a lot of material there. That 100% honesty from me, I wouldn't be mad about them doing a series on it, right? Because like most everything right now, I mean, like South Park got it right. There's member berries, right? I mean, like okay, we've got Jurassic World with all the original Jurassic Park characters in it. We've got freaking Top Gun 2 with like, or Top Gun Maverick with like. You know, same characters. Even Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer can't even talk anymore. He has like throat cancer.
Val Kilmer?
Val Kilmer. Yeah, he played Batman one time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played Iceman.
Dr. Freeze?
No. That was Arnold. No. He played Iceman in the original Top Gun movie. Have you seen the original Top Gun?
Oh no.
He's kind of like the guy, kind of opposite Tom Cruise. Right, like. I'm sure if you saw him, you'd recognize him. He also played Batman once. But, anywho, I think if Disney did a series with that, without too much contrivance or whatever, like, they'd be all... I think they do a good job on it. Because, like, the story is there. There's, like, really good substance there. And, like, I mean, take out, like... while I disagree with like, you know, tricking people into reading the Bible, right? Like it's like, hell, guess what? There's gonna be like swords and adventures and freaking mythical creatures.
I mean, that sounds awesome.
Right? It's tricking people into reading the Bible, right? Like because that's what the Chronicles.
Using religion to trick people.
Yeah, that's how they get you. No, but it's just like one of those where. Besides that, the story is really good, and I think that there's an enemy tier left. Who's an orange one? Huh. Did he despawn? There he is.
Oh, this guy.
Is he orange or red?
It's more of a red.
Yeah. But yeah, anywho, so yeah, I think there's something there, especially if they start at the very beginning. I think it'd be really good. Now I've got to read those books again, so I don't like get angry at myself. Because like I don't remember much about like the later ones, but I know I hated the last one.
The end of the world.
Yeah, one. Or the last battle one. That one kind of sucked because in that book you have like kind of a return of a lot of the other characters, right? Like you've got like Peter and Susan and Lucy and Edmund. Now you have like kind of like those OG Chronicles of Narnia characters, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be great. But then like you find out at the end that they're all already dead or something like that. Some weird twist that happens in like the last chapter, and you're like, huh? Right, like I said,
Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
The 4 kids you knew. Yeah, in the last story, even though they saved the day, they were already dead at the beginning.
Already dead. Gosh, that's some M. Night Shyamalan stuff right there.
Why should I trust you? You're Hitler. Sorry, it's just like Futurama.
That's fantastic.
It was like their parody of the Twilight Zone called The Scary Door.
Gosh, that's funny.
It's like, huh. A world where I'm always winning in a casino? Like, this is a dream! And then he wins again. It's like, oh, in a world where I always win a casino, I must be in hell! It's like,
that's funny.
No, you're not in hell. You're on an airplane. Get me out! Why should I trust you? You're Hitler! No!
Exactly. It's just like all like random, but I don't know. But that's a I don't know, so crazy.
Okay, but I think back to the original question. If they did a Narnia world for Kingdom Hearts, which part of the story would you think would be best implemented?
Of which one?
Okay, so if there was a Narnia world in a Kingdom Hearts game, or like in Kingdom Hearts 4, which story do you think would be most suitable?
Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
So
100%.
that one by default.
Yeah, by default, because that's the one that everyone's going to recognize.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone's going to recognize the Silver Chair, the horse and his boy,
the Magician's Nephew.
The Magician's Nephew. People aren't going to recognize those unless they've read the books.
Right.
Like, you also would have had to stick it out with a story that, like, I don't know, you have to stick it out through like 7 books. So.
Yeah. Wait. So, I just realized you mentioned that, like, in the last book, you said that the original 4, you know, even though they saved the day, like, they were already dead. You know,
right.
That. And so, in terms of the story so far with Kingdom Hearts, so in Kingdom Hearts 3, definitely in the Remind DLC, and it doesn't. I don't necessarily have to refer to DLC. Like, even in the Kingdom Hearts 4 reveal trailer, there's a character that Sora meets again, maybe, I don't know, Strelitzia, and she was saying that the world that Sora was in, our world, is considered to be like the afterlife to Sora and Strelitzia, even though in our world it's like the real one.
Interesting.
You know?
Okay.
And so, like, with that in mind, like, Sora going to the world of Narnia, where, like, the 4 siblings are dead already.
Right. That could make sense.
You see what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, that could make sense in some cases, but it's like years and years after those events, though. Like a long time after those events. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Okay,
yeah, that's true.
But they were just considering it that way. But I don't. Honest to goodness, I don't think they're going to do a Narnia one. Just because, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, how many new worlds do they usually do per Kingdom Hearts? So, like, this last Kingdom Hearts 3, what do we get? We got Toy Story.
Right, hold on. I'm sorry. I need my popcorn.
Popcorn, no.
Okay. So you got Mount Olympus.
Okay.
You got Twilight Town. So not a Disney World per se.
Right.
Then you got Toy Story.
Yep.
Then you got there was, let's see. Oh, I might be forgetting a few. Frozen.
Yeah.
There was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Monsters Inc.
Okay.
Tangled.
Okay.
That was the one I was forgetting. There was Tangled, so that's 7 so far.
And those are all new ones exclusively to Kingdom Hearts 3, right?
Yeah. And Big Hero 6.
So 8. So if you're going to build on those, how many new worlds are you going to do? Let's say Star Wars.
I want a Zootopia world.
Interesting.
I think I've mentioned this before.
I think you have.
I want a Zootopia world, and I want a Gravity Falls world.
Gotcha.
And I guess I would be down for a Haunted Mansion world.
That'd be interesting. But they have Halloween Town.
I think they're done with Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Oogie Boogie's no longer a problem.
Yeah.
He's like, remember Oogie Boogie? Yeah, I killed him. There's like an old man Sora. Yo, maybe like a Marvel.
I could see. Okay, yeah, there could be a Marvel world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a Star Wars world.
All but confirmed.
Most likely to be Star Wars Episode 6, just because it's that 4C location in that one of the shots, like on top right of the screen, you can see that robot or machine foot. I can't think of the name of it at the moment, but
the ATST or ATAT.
Yeah, it's like one of those.
One of the walkers.
One of the walkers. I'm gonna save again because I forgot if I had saved. But I'm just going to play it safe here.
So for sure that, okay, so here's my argument for them having a Marvel one. The Marvel games haven't been doing well themselves.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah, like they just haven't been super successful games. Movies have been great, but the games have been kind of meh, right? Like, if anything. So, you throw a Marvel world in there, kind of reignites people's ability to like play as a Kingdom Hearts game in there, and maybe even get some enthusiasm for the rest of the franchise. right? Like there could be some factors there, but I think that that would be the only reason they would do it. But I think it's kind of slim. I think they're more likely to do like a Moana world.
Yeah, probably a Moana world.
I mean, I can see it. And honestly, I mean, maybe even Zootopia. I think there's a good enough chance to do that. But it would just be like some really popular characters. Like, but then again, I mean, they got some stuff from like Fantasia, so that's kind of like Murph.
Oh wow, this guy actually has more HP than I anticipated.
Gross.
Ooh, there was a card. I saw a card. Where was the card? Yeah.
But I think, I don't know. I think, see, it's kind of hard to say on that because like they've done some of the biggest Disney franchises out there, right? I mean, like you got Mickey Mouse, Donald, Goofy, you know, they're here.
Oh, wake up, wake up, wake up! Wake up!
Nice. We've got all those characters. Then you've got, I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean. You've got Toy Story, right? Which is like freaking huge for Disney, okay? Like, that's huge. You've got, I mean, now Star Wars, so that's a really big one. Big Hero 6 was cool, but like, I feel like it doesn't have the same star power as like, for example, even Frozen. I mean, everyone knows the song Let It Go. Like, I mean, come on. Everyone knows that.
Really?
Like, and that's just one of those things. But like I don't know how popular was Zootopia? Like, really, like.
I mean, I liked it. I think it was positive.
Pretty good. See, I've never seen it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you one way or the other myself. But I think that Disney, I mean, they won't run out of material, but I feel like, I don't know, that it, like, now that we're talking about like the Chronicles of Narnia stuff, like I've kind of got me hyped and hoping that they do go somewhere with that, because they could, I mean, they could just like restart the whole series with just the Magician's Nephew, right? I think I'd watch it. I'd watch the snot out of that, actually. I thought it was a really, really cool concept. But, they can't, I mean, because Spider-Man's got his own games, right? Like, he's doing fine.
Yeah.
Like I said, like with Marvel, I feel like if they did anything, maybe an X-Men tie-in. Maybe something like that. Maybe Doctor Strange. Right, like maybe do something that direction. But I feel like as far as like franchises that Disney can use, they've used some of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Pirates of the Caribbean is freaking huge. Oh, did you hear that, like, since Johnny Depp won the trial, Disney offered him, you know, guess how many millions of dollars they offered him to do another Pirates movie?
500 mil?
$300 million.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Will this be a Pirate 6?
I think so. Because you know how there was kind of a cliffhanger at the end of the last one?
Mm-hmm.
Like Davy Jones type stuff?
Yeah, showing up in Will's and Elizabeth's bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
Yeah, like Reaper. But, like, there's so much more.
Don't mind me, I'm just...
Don't mind me.
Enjoy watching cute couples sleep.
Sleep. You do that thing?
Oh yeah, he talks like that.
Yes, sleep.